So I'm going to continue this as a podcast. I covered some of the things inside on the live podcast because it was time for me that I went on ahead and did a podcast because I have people who have invited me to do a live speaking with my podcast, and they want to give me big billboard signage. Isn't that wonderful? So if I can, I'm going to just jump right into coping with teens and children, no matter your background, royal family, working family, church family, regular community, atheist family. It just doesn't matter, your background, long as you're family oriented, single, family, guardian, and you have one child, you have a lot of children, or you might be working with orphanage agencies. And I love that. I love children. I know what it's like to be hurt as a child. I know what it's like to be abandoned and neglected in a way. And then I know what it's like to be protected. I know what it's like to be shielded and have to be, run away with your parent and guardian. And then I had to in turn try to do the same with the ones that I had at the time I had them till my last child that I have now. And it has been a great warfare, especially with memory loss, really getting in the way, playing a part. And that really just is a lot for anybody, any family, any friend, any support system dealing with things like that. And it's a miraculous miracle when you can decree and declare before things like this happen and you have a miraculous turnaround. So I want to encourage everybody listening, everybody watching, however you will come to be in connection with the podcast, whether it's a live episode, a live stream one day coming soon when I build up all their hundreds and millions of followers and I actually get to engage and connect and talk to them. Then we can go from there and I'll start selling great and fun merchandise that I will invest out of pocket. And I'm open for collaborations as well when that time comes. But anywho, I have actually I'm on the wrong device, but I'll read from WikiHow, and that helped me with my career. And I made mention of that early when I was doing the live podcast. A lot of people think that podcasting is easy. It is when you got all your ducks in a row and all your apps and the production team and the StreamYard production setup, because then they can just put all of this content out at once. And it's easy as 1, 2, 3, ready to go. But right now, I'm doing it like grandma and grandpa setup, that shop. When they had the old brick and mortar, the storefront and or the house or the basement, somewhere like that. I don't have all the fancy equipment, anymore. So I'm working with the mic and it's like detached from the arms, the scissors. And there's parts missing if you could see it. And then there's other little pieces in a clear bag. And it's just so sad. But I'm, motivated to speak anyhow, because that's just who I am. That's who I've been. And I'm motivated to just speak about my business, my life, just to impact you. And I'm babbling on here because I can't seem to find what I need. Okay. Quickly. WikiHow article I'm using is an online wiki style publication. And I invested in this like multiple years ago, over 10, 12, 14 years ago. And it was aimed to create intensive database and content to model, collaborate with writers, authors, people who just want an insight about something, curiosity, instructions, a manual. And I invested in it and it became a part of WNS Publishing, the content for S&W and Sonia and Chantel, all these holdings. And I thank them today. I'm sure people took over it and did what they do. But it's still working good. At first, it was kind of down. Now it looked like they took their time to bring it back more to life, that I made reports about it being a little bit too old and not enough content. So it looks like they upgraded it and updated. So you can go and join that. And it's usually trustworthy instructions. It's kind of like the first LinkedIn in a way, but with all the excessive contacts that go deep as LinkedIn go. But it was sort of kind of like that, and it still is in a way. You can meet and see and connect with authors and attorneys and all these people in all these industries, as I did. So I'm just going to jump right into it. I know I said that before. And I was talking to, coping and having troubled teens, curious teens, that may be traumatized, going through things, you as the parent, trying to figure it out, trying to do it alone, and you seem like you're just in way over your head. There's millions and billions of content and books and live podcasts that cover these same type of episodes, and podcast topics. But I'm just going to jump right in and talk about it because I need therapy. And this is my therapeutic session. So it houses Powerhouse, and that's the gospel word, and my content on WordPress that has been hit. The other show was the Chantel Heart Show. That's been hit. And now it's the Chantel Heart Show Radio TikTok. That went viral, as well as Facebook. And that's the Chantel Heart, drop the T, add the 3. You can connect with me there. What else? There is ED Diplomacy Alliance Podcast with an S at Instagram. And the other pages you may come across when you put in Chantel Hobson, those are not active working Instagram or other Facebook or Twitter pages, just the ones that I've made mention to you. LinkedIn at ENISED Diplomacy Alliance LLC, and the podcast is over there. And just welcome. So let's talk about the troubled teens. Let's get back to that. I gotta find my content. So I've already covered that. It says how to help troubled teens. The teen years are most difficult years of the child's life. Whether you are a parent, a relative, a friend, just caring for the person. We in culture call that it takes help. It takes a village to raise a child in a teen's life. So that's referring to caring for persons or helping out as a supporter. To help them to feel secure and respected, to teach them moral values, dignity, integrity. Be a role model that provides reassurance while also setting boundaries. And that's usually uncomfortable for them. And yes, as a parent, your feelings are going to be hurt. But you got to get out of your feelings because eventually you will heal. Teach them healthy ways to cope by finding activities that boost their confidence. If things continue to worsen at school or at home or with their behavior, find professional help. I want to also intervene to check out Cindy Trier Ministries and reach out. She has therapeutical sessions that she has with families, as well as Dr. Sherry Blake. Identifying community resources. That's why I had just provided for you. Part 1 of part 3. Being supportive and being a role model. Talk openly to the teen. Sharing your feelings, being honest. Don't tend to share too much, too early. To open the lines of communication, discuss your concerns and in a calm and in a loving way. A lot of us who have strong personalities like myself, what a confession, it is not easy because we are so, not every parent is like this, but I have to speak for myself and for those that I know are like me and my background. We are passionate and you want what's best for your child. You're disappointed in them, right? Because that's the same type of look and feeling and tone that you heard when you were a child or a teen or a young lady or a young fella, So listening to them, being compassionate. God also tells us with loving kindness. With loving kindness have I drawn thee. Coming from the King James Bible and the New Translation Bible to break down what the King James Bible is about. So you're going to own about 2 Bibles. The teen may not be willing to be open every time. You have to realize that the teen won't always be able to give you what you think they should give you. And that's a demand, a command for their attention, for their answer, for their response. Consider saying something like, I noticed a change in your behavior. And then explain what that change was that you noticed. And I often do that. I want to check in with you. And I see that you wanted to talk, or you need to see that, I want to talk to you. I know it can be tough, to share your feelings and what you're thinking. Kind of pick their brain and their emotion, but I want you to know that I'm here. That's something that you can say to them. Like I tell my child, you are enough. And that is enough. When they're ready to listen, they will tend to open up. Offer an example of what you struggle with as a teen. Whew, now you're trying to open up some Pandora boxes and some emotional distress. But when you look into that child's eyes, when you look into that child's face, you're going to see more than just yourself, but you see your eyes. You see something on you that fits them. They might have the dad's eyes. So you're going to see your nose. If they have the dad's nose, you may see your lips. They have the dad's lips. You're going to see something on that child. The roundness of their face. The longness of their face. Maybe their hair texture. Something will stand out that should cause you in a humble way to say, oh my goodness, I see myself. And then when you do that, especially in my experience, then you're going to be eating humble pie here. And then you can go in the back of your mind and say, I bet that's what mama, papa, grandma, grandpa, teacher, the church, the nanny, member, leader was going through. Or I can imagine maybe that's what it was back in the day, when I was acting up. Maybe that's what they felt and thought. Maybe that's the way that they looked at me. I'm talking to you because I really need you to hone in on this, because for a moment there, I lost my child. For a moment there, I made the other children mad at me, because your words are powerful. Your emotion is powerful. But this too shall pass. It's a spiritual, religious saying for, trouble won't last always. Old Harriet Tubman saying that she used to say, they call her Moses, as she freed the slaves in the Underground Railroad. I had a privilege to become a part of, and studying and teaching in education and contributing and traveling about that, the early Emancipation Proclamation that has not gone anywhere, but that's a whole nother podcast. But so you need to give back. See yourself like, they saw you. Represent history like you were taught to. Awaken history that you probably didn't even like that subject in school. You need to become one with culture. And let your ancestors that are helping you speak to you, guide you, show you, because they are there. Let them activate, no matter how bad it hurts to see or feel them or scare you in your visions, when you know that they are passed on and gone away. But that's okay. It's motivation. Be loving, be humble, and speak a soft tone. Okay? So with loving kindness have I drawn thee, the Bible tells us. Jesus, Yeshua. Okay, so going back to the article. Maybe you have had difficulties and you didn't have anybody to talk to. Maybe that's how it was with you. Rough and hard and brutal and abusive, because I have that same kind of background as well. And then in another sense, my house, in another sense, my parents, they talked to us until we fell asleep. They talked to our friends until they fell asleep on our back. Industry friends that I didn't know was encamped around me, and just didn't realize that everybody was always with me. And then I sit and think about it and compare things that was a little unusual, so etc. But this is me healing in a way and overcoming and sharing with you. They're not us. Our children are not us. We were not our parents, And back then you couldn't talk back. You couldn't say and be free. Some of us could, because my house opened it where we could speak our mind. We could express ourselves. But my mama said, don't go too far, because the bell will come out. So I then give my children the same open lead way to say, speak your mind, but watch how you say it. There's a tone. There's certain words you can't say. There's a certain way you can't say it to me. And then we have to be sure, make sure that when they remember that and when they're receiving it, you know, those coming behind them, teaching them the same. And now you older and you're having younger kids. Now your patience is drawn up. Now you ain't got patience. It's like you deserting the children. That's an absolute no-no. You have to make just as much time. You took time to make them. You need time to make sure that you give them integrity, love, respect, and honor. For the ones who didn't, God's wrath is upon your hands. You wash your hands, don't make them clean. What you put out into the universe is coming back to you. We have to be careful what we do, what we say, how we convey it. The stain that we leave on the mic, as Kirk Franklin say. Listen to you, think and pray before you speak. That's what I would like to do. Sometimes you'll just have an outburst, and that ain't cool. Sometimes you'll say things about the child's business, that ain't cool. Because everybody that even you trust don't have your child's best interest at heart. And no, don't mean they're always being mean, low down, and dirty. It just means sometimes that just wasn't for you to do that. Maybe what about how the child feel? Always about protecting your business. But sometimes speaking to families and children and teen and youth centers who will listen to this podcast, you have to understand that respect. You got to give if you want it. Vice versa, parents and guardians. Y'all, come on. Come on, as my head teeter-tot back and forth. Come on, we have to do the same. And I am a rough cookie. And I don't crumble easy. But we have to make ourselves humble. Moving on. Offer up examples, okay? And, you know, because we got to remember again, we struggled as a teen. And overcoming that, offer advice. Look and go through the challenges that were similar that I faced, that you face. Try to be patient. Once again, let the teen open up first. Sometimes you might got to initiate and open up. And you know how I do it, guys? I like to do laughter. I like to do comedian things. Or maybe invite them to a movie. And I thought it was slick one time, okay? So I did that to my young child. And I had a habit of doing this to the other children as well. I give an example, or I'll teach them the ways how people are going to react to them. This is how it's going to be if you get out there in the real world. This was going to happen. Or hypothetically, this what could happen. Because more likely it didn't happen. And then they burst with laughter. And you're being silly, Mom. No. I'm teaching you real life. I need you to take it seriously. And then I would go out and have real life experiences and teach them. And I teach my baby girl. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. And she loves it. You know, they love that. But it's a system. I'm going to call it a system. Yes, it's a support system. Okay. But it's a trusted system. That's not the word I wanted to use, although that counts. Come on, give it to me. It's a study. And it's going to be a little awkward to hear, you know, someone say that about, you know, whether it's yourself or the child or the teen. They're not lab rats, you know, but it's a case study. If that's the word I'm looking for. It's a case study. Okay. You have to observe. You got to analyze. There's spiritual discerning. That's going to be the same capabilities. And when you learn to put your spiritual man first, the spiritual side of you first, meditations, not witchcraft, not chakra, not crystals, not tools of, anything relating to voodooism, if that's even a word, voodooism, Buddhism. That stuff is evil, it's demonic, it's wrong, and it ushers up the wrong type of spirit. It alters and spirits that are confusing, frustrating, messy, low down, revengeful, cold and empty, darkness. And I really need y'all to hone in on what I'm saying. Your life becomes different. First of all, what that thing does is, I'm going to put this down and come back to it in a minute. I really need these cult families to understand that what you're doing to yourself and in your house, you're bringing damage and damnation. to your spirit, to your vessel, to your church. The church is not the building, it's you, it's us. So what we are doing, we're killing the spirit, the right spirit, that we need to renew us, first of all, every day, every hour, every moment, every season, every year, every quarter. But God and the angels are going to be right there. Chakras, witches, voodoos, the crystal ball, the crystals, the sing bowl. That's really what I want to say. I did retreats with sing bowls, and it seems like I still miss that sing bowl today. Like I just want to get in the floor and I want to altar up, and I want the spirits to come together, and I want the ancestors to speak, and I want to just become one with it again, and I want to feel the outer body experience again, because I have I awoke something, in me. I have awakened something, and it was wrong, because then I start feeling a touch, as if someone's sitting next to me, touching me. Whether it's in personal places that only a lover, a husband should touch you there, or the doctor should touch you there to examine you. Real talk, stuff like this happen. And people are all over YouTube. They're out in the communities. They're in these churches talking about, I feel God, I'm open, I'm one with God. No, you're being molested. You're being raped. You're being tortured by a spirit. That is not Jesus. That is not Christ. That is not, it's an antichrist. That's what it is. So all of these, I had a family that I met. I'm not going to say their name for the sake of copyright, Creative Commons, defamation. I don't want nobody hitting my podcast, because they will when they hear it. But I want to tell the truth. And they gatekeepers, all of them, including the kids, are gatekeepers. You know them very well. And a lot of you out there love them very well. And maybe I can hint over, one slapped the other at the Oscars. Him and their family, it was insane. How they love this magic is in my family as well. My children and my ex. Okay? I'm not going to say names. But the thing is, messing with that stuff, even myself, trying to figure out what my dad wanted me to carry out, and he's dead and gone. He was murdered. He was stumped to death. See, his God didn't protect him. My God brought me back, because I converted over from that dark earthly God and demonic God. I converted over to the official original creator God, who is Yeshua, who is Jesus, and I was taught Jesus. I was taught holiness in Pentecostal. And I'm so ever more grateful that my grandmother and my mother converted from baptism to Pentecostal apostolic doctrine. And I'll get into that, later, because there's a lot that consists of that and a lot of explaining and breakdown. But check out the reels where we're going to have live Bible study. And I'm going to be going over it on the podcast, the live episodes that you see on social media. So that's coming soon. But anyways, just reaching out to the families. Let the cult go. It's bad. I had a bad experience. It messed up family. It messed up marriages. It messed up my house. It enlightened and it actually shone light on what I needed to see that I didn't know. So even though I don't want to be talking about it helped something, it did show me things that I needed to see, that I couldn't see, that I was blinded by. Whether I call it love, whether I call it a sexual favor, whatever was going on, a liking, relatives that were coming and going, friends coming and going, industry friends, whatever, it will shine some light on some things. But I say let it go, because the angel of the Lord will come and bring you your information, your awareness, just as quick, just as powerful, just as long, and in the nick of time, and early, many years beforehand. I'm speaking from experience on each and every level. And this podcast is so long overdue. As we teaching our children respect and to respect themselves, I have to stay on the religious side because ENISED Diplomacy Alliance is a faith-based company. It's a startup because not in operation. But in other words, it is an operation because I do it remotely. No, it's not making me money that I can see. But it doesn't mean that money is not coming in for me, and there's being legal teams collecting. See, God is good. He's going to work that thing out for you. He supplies all of our needs. I'm not trying to preach. I'm just trying to keep it real. Well, why these cult families ain't no good. Why these cult families is bringing hell and, damnation and destruction and coldness and disrespect right under your very roof. Why divorce is there. Why infidelity is there. Why you may be starting to try to molest your kids, look at them in a different way, because something has taken control of you. You are now of another entity. You are now of another world. And no matter how you kick to do right and your heart wants to do right, you can't because you're hanging on, you dibbing and dabbing in demonic tools and accessories and magic, magician, sorcery. You're advising, you're paying psychics, and you're connecting with these things. You're going too far. And now you done became a witch. Now your wife is a witch. Now your kids are witches. Granny then became a witch. No. Get delivered. Get saved. Get sanctified. Because there is nothing cute about elevation levels and opening up portals like you saw at Travis Scott concert and people dying at the Tiana Taylor concert and or the Ariana concert or all these digital artist concerts that go out there live, rock star concerts and do what they do and watch people in the audience life get sucked up to hell. That blood was on our hands. It's on their hands. And how do we make that right? It's the whole nut in the shell. This is where respect comes back into play. The topic, the segment. Coping with pandemics. Part 3. Teaching your child to respect you because you have to have respect. I have to have respect. People that we associate ourselves with have to continue to show and speak respect for things and manners and behavior. Because once you go for, I always say it, if you don't stand for something, you'll stand for anything. Or you standing for something, it just happens to be evil. Now your womb, when you get ready to have a baby, that man demon possessed, them kids can get affected. You dibbling, dabbling, and squeezing crystals and demon spirits and altering up evil in your house, manifesting and with yogas and all these witchcraft type spirits and advisors and therapists, yoga masters. No, get out of there. These churches with these star flags and stuff, get out of there. Any of those symbols, get out of there. 3-point, 6-point stars, get out of there. I said it. It's a cult. And I sat in there. They've exploited me. They've disrespected. They've dishonored. People disguise themselves, coming to the church, humiliating me, dogging me, talking about me. Because when you bless, the devil going to find you. God allowed the devil to come and test you, but he can't touch your soul. And see, they mad because they couldn't take me out for money and for my seats. Avoid getting upset and raising your voice as possible, while your troubled teens and actions may cause you to be frustrated and anxious. Well, a lot of times you go through that dealing with cult families, and you may even have an object in your house and you don't know that it's causing misery, strife, and destruction. A painting, a doll. That's right, a doll. D-O-L-L, a toy, T-O-Y. Can cause harm. Candles, jewelry, bracelets. Doesn't always have to be made out of ruby, emeralds, pearls. It can just be something, a surface that the spirit can rest upon. Like a mantle. But it's evil. And it's giving off frequencies and energies. And it's growing and building in you and around you. Get rid of it. Use real olive oil. Researching to see if what you got in your house is real olive oil at the store and pray over it. Fast. Nothing to eat or drink for a day, for 2 days, for however long God wants you to intercede with him, meaning to speak to him, to pray with him. While he come in and brings in his spirit, he visit you. He calls your name that he knows you let him in. You can trust what I tell you. It's true, it's honest, it's safe, and that I'm doing it myself. Find ways to show that you're strong and reliable support system. See, you got to get rid of that cult behavior and that witchcraft and those items, even if you're not practicing voodoo and Buddhism and any type of, chakra, even the tools and accessories are a problem. And yes, it seems hypocritical of me with Melanie Fiona, with Janine Aiko, with me with these products as a healing guru. Well, I mixed gods together, and my spirit became anxious. My spirit became destructive in a small sense of way. I became more and more empty. I became more and more intrigued. I became more and more, it opened up my body to feeling more and more aroused, to be more and more just insane. It was purely insanity. More curious. So I started doing things I shouldn't have been doing, saying things I shouldn't have been saying, trying things I shouldn't have been trying. And then forcing my ex to do things that he didn't feel comfortable with, vice versa. Same that he did to me. So we both gatekeepers, gatekeeping each other, gatekeeping those around us, because we were then demon possessed. Whereas people don't understand that, and they go on with it because they think that's the spiritual world, because they feel some kind of sick, twisted high. No, you have sold your soul. That's where that comes from. But you can get that soul back. Did you know that? Did you know that God will restore your soul, your mind, your belief? He will restore your emotions, your family, your business, your money, your movement, your partners, any and everything that was affected, that you lost, that you couldn't even remember you had, a feeling that you couldn't even remember you last felt. A place where you couldn't even hardly remember where you last was or what you were doing. God, over time, will gradually, as you are in a spiritual incubator, he will come to heal you. I am over 30 minutes into my show. I think I'll keep pressing forward, because this is an important topic for me to talk about. Broken homes, broken churches, broken schools, they shooting up. Everything's broken. Why? I'm going to tell you why. I got the answer. You stop believing in God. We stay in a country that supports everything against God, and we wonder why. Then you go and visit other nations and countries that you heard about, that they show you on the media, bogus information and media, and you go and you visit, because I'm talking from experience, and you see there was nothing like that. Or maybe they just highlighted the parts that are like that, the hood side, the ghetto side, the poverty side, the people who don't want to change. Fine, give them their own. And now Africa is splitting. I think that's God splitting it. America, the country, the city, California, and other little parts are breaking off. That's God. And I'm thankful for when that happens. You know why? Because God is separating his reserved and preserving them from those that want to be evil. If you can remember when Moses saved everybody and got them over to the promised land, got them through the terrible water, when the water stood high and they ran through it. If you can just imagine that, if you're a believer, if you're not, I sure wish you would be, because it's worth it. It's nothing wrong. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have happiness and joy? Why wouldn't you want to see God repair your life and restore you and build you up on a high that getting high would never be able to do for you? I hope I impact someone, with those words, because that's encouraging and it's real, But the promised land, right? So that's the King James Bible, and that's Moses. So he's praying. His Aaron is up there, his brother with him. And God allowed him, because he's old now at this point, and they started to celebrate with the golden calf. If you haven't seen that, there's a program called Superbook. And I encourage families to watch it together. And yes, it's animated, but it's amazing. And sometimes you might have to donate $1 or something to access the rest of the programs. I encourage you to download Superbook, or there's other Christian movies and networks and programs that you might be into. But the golden calf was a symbol that the people did not no longer want God's help. They wanted to do everything all by themselves. Like in Samuel in the Bible, people didn't want God anymore. They hurt God. Hurting God is like usually compared to hurting a woman. God created us women because he says we were the best thing that he ever created. Now, when God pops his own collar on that, what that tell you? So in hurting God, it's like, I brought y'all way over from Pharaoh, jacking you up, killing your people off, beating you up, you dying, hungry, starving. And now you're in the promised land almost. Not there quite, but you're almost there. You're in a waiting spot. This is where we talk about God conditioning us. And we today, although we're not in Israel, in Egypt, Ethiopians living that way, it's still applied to us today. That's why God said, condition yourself. Because when we condition ourselves, we make ourselves available for all things in the spirit to come in and to fill us up with all this goodness. And he can talk to us and he can lead us and he can show us, and we make ourselves available. Then your kids will respect you, because there will be a presence that comes in, like a presence that's here now, and it will manifest, and you can feel your angels. You can feel a calm, cool spirit, a presence, and because it's not evil. Because there's not like a wall. It's spiritual. It's kind of hard to explain. You got to experience it. Sometimes in life, you feel like there's a wall. There's something up. I'll use it for a human form. Like when you want to talk to that person, you just can't get through to them. And no matter if you touch them physically or you push them, you be aggressive or you be assertive, or even if you be passive, nothing works. They shut down. So that's how God was. And he said, you know what? I'm angry. Go down there and tell the people what Moses told him to tell them. He gave instruction. Who's on the Lord's side? People ran. Me, Moses. I am Moses. I'm on the Lord's side. And they ran to whatever side they ran to. And God cracked the earth in half. My Lord. I just imagine myself being there. Anybody who knows me know I would have chose the Lord's side. I would have jumped, Lord, don't let me die. I would have crawled until I got over on the other side some kind of way. And that ground was breaking up. People were falling in left and right. And I questioned God. I said, God, some of the people look like they was trying to get over on the other side. But as I watched the movie over and over and over again, it's just common sense. God knew who to swallow up in the earth. He knew who to destroy. You know what I mean? But it was people that got to the rock, which is safety. God considers the rock safety. And he didn't want Moses to throw the 10 commandments down and break those commandments. It wasn't his right and his authority to do that. And a lot of times we take it upon ourselves to do what we want to do. And when you're a person of authority, because that just hit me right in my face, I have done that. I tend to do that. But I have to repent and fall back and say, wait a minute, I got power. I got lots of power. But God, I always promise that when you put me in power, when you raise me up, I'm not of my own, as the scriptures tell me. And it's not my power, it's not my authority, but by yours. And I found out that when I am obedient, God comes through for me. When I step back, when I'm quiet, when I disquieted in the spirit, God comes through, and it is evolutionary. And it's evidence. And this is how you know God exists, because how can I be knowing of some things, discerning things, seeing things, and I'm not even nowhere near where the people are, or where my children are, or where my supporter and allies are, but they tell me that I'm right. That's the spirit. That's a spiritual eye. That's spiritual confirmation that I'm doing something right, doggone it. And I refuse to take down. I refuse to move in my latter days, which are my greater days. meaning I'm in my older days. I'm wiser. I'm careful. I'm more cautious than I ever been before because my life depends on it. Your house depends on you. Your church depends on you. Your school depends on you. Your workplace may even depend on you. And you may not even know that you are that chosen Moses or Esther that can take a stand. Or the the boys that were thrown in the fiery furnace that can come out without a scratch, a burn, and highlight Jesus all over you because you represent miraculous manifestating miracles. You, your children, are the church. Us, we are all incorporated together. Whether we like each other, and do you know what? Whether we dislike each other. Because God made us in his likeness and in his image. And we have to do one or two things. We have to say, because God give us a choice now. Lord, I'm on your side. Or, I'm sorry, I'm rolling with the people who didn't make it to the promised land. I'm on their side. And they gatekeeping. Now you're going to perish. You're going to die. You're not going to make it. And I hope that you never choose that. Because the Spirit of the Lord says there's a great gulf fixed. And that's in scriptures. There's a great gulf fixed. I'm going to pause and get some water here. You better choose what side you want to be on. Your life depends on it. It's like playing Russian roulette without it. Your life depends on it. Everyone around you who loves you, who's rooting for you, depends on it. Why? Because when you step into that room, there's a presence you're going to bring with you. There's spirits and entities that you carry around you that are going to jump in or on the people, whether it's good or whether it's bad. That's why God tells us we are not of our own. Why do you think witches and voodoo and witchcraft people can say, oh, this person went and jumped into that person's body? Spirits jumping in and out of that person's body. And that person is exhausted. They are tired. They don't understand. They're frustrated. They've been attacked. And or vice versa. They could be messing and tampering into bad spirits around a place where all of that bad stuff is happening. Witchcraft and voodoo and Buddhism. And what happened is something that jumped in you and on you. Because see, God may not let it go in you, but he might let it go upon you to teach you, hey, you got to stay out of there. You cannot go over there. You can't be, no, it's not healthy. What do you want that I can't give you over there? And that I can't give you right here. You need to leave it alone. You're intrigued. That's what your problem is. You want to know everything about whatever over there. But I'm warning you and I'm sending you and I'm letting you now experience the downfalls. That grass ain't green on the other side. We need to take heed to that. Be on the Lord's side. Don't be swallowed up. What you bring in your house, you done schedule activity to come like a clock ticking around the clock on time. And the cuckoo bird finna come out and ring the alarm. And that stuff finna happen all over again. All the evil frequencies and energies in your house. I advise you to anoint. First of all, you got to repent. Lord, in the name of Jesus, I'm sorry. Yeshua Yahweh, you are invited. If I were you, I would not forget it. I would say that. I would believe it. Try it. So back to supporting your team. Be cool and calm. If you can, excuse yourself. And when you collect yourself and get yourself together, come back. Okay, as I told you earlier. And then it will be effective. As you give apologies, teach them to apologize for their mistakes and wrongdoing. You, your children, the workspace, the orphan children, the community children, whomever, wherever. Even if you're on remote, which I would like to see more of. Remote youth programs and apprenticeships. Emphasize the mistakes you're learning about the opportunity, right? And making it a part of your normal life. Listen, of course, to your troubled teen child without judgment. Trying to fix all the problems is impossible, but I know somebody who can do it, and that's Yeshua. That's Jesus. When you pray, meditate, that's first. And then second, you and your children find ways to fix it. Like in my situation, if that were me and my daughter, we would not be going through as much as we're going through. But because money has been most of the way for me, and gatekeepers coming into this house and all the places that we've lived for 15 solid years doing things against me, off and on, because I'm not going to say it's every single 15, year of the 15, but it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And I know for a fact, I think I know for a fact, that I would not have been going through as much problems with my team as I am. So maybe not. I don't know. But I'm just praying and working my butt off to build up, to save up, to go and interact. I suggest and advise that you do that, because I had to get ready to do it too. Sometimes you may not have the money. You may not have the resources. You may not have transportation. There's the bus. You can walk, especially if it's a small town. Get out and make yourself, because now my baby is calling for attention even more, and I have got to save her life. And I wish I was there to save the other's life, because they were hurt and affected. You're not going to always be there, mom and dad, grandma, guardians. But we have to fix the right now. And ask God to hurry up and send his emergency healing and his resources in our life, to help us, to intercept, to intervene, to intercede, to interrupt ASAP. I pray that for you listening right now, in Jesus' name, that God do that for you, because he's helping me. And kids gonna be kids, but it sure is dangerous when they want to play those kind of games, as it was for us, Avoid distraction, maintain good eye contact, because taking them out all the time and buying them things and letting them use the credit card, letting them drive the car, or letting them go on a trip with friends, not always going to be the problem solver. So learn to avoid distractions. To show that you are truly listening, be present. Me and my daughter just had a conversation where that happened. She didn't get anything for Valentine's Day. I didn't get anything for Valentine's Day. I'm mommy. I can't remember the last time I had a Valentine's Day gift, roses, a date, anything. But you know what? I cannot go against the grain. I cannot say I'm not out on the prowl. By faith, waiting and praying for those moments again. And I had to ensure her and enlighten her little butt that, not her actual butt, but I'm saying, and that was a parental word for just saying her little small human self. But look, Valentine's Day is not for you, okay? You and your friends need to take a chill pill. Well, Mom, he came and promised me he was going to give me some gifts, Mommy. He came and he gave all those girls, they had shoes and balloons. And I'm sitting back like, what? Because, back in the day, it wasn't like that always. Them girls just got cards and they got some money. They got some flowers. They got his attention. That was it. Or a car ride, regular teen upper dating stuff. The movies, the mall, maybe an outfit, mom, parents, chill with his family, movie night, the, relatives or family really liking her or him. It was stuff like that. But now today, they going all the way out. I ain't doing that. And I don't advise any of you to do that or get in on it, because you're teaching them to grow up way too fast. Ain't nobody got time for that. It's ridiculous. They need to take their time. Because I tell her it will come. Valentine's Day is, and I broke it down, for adults, for lovers, for married couples, for teen adults. If you want to think teens, mommy, okay, teens. It's for older ones who are getting ready to get married and know that this is what they want to do. They can't think of doing anything else. And they're already sexually active, maybe already got a baby involved. It's not for the ones who is on the up and up and don't got all that stuff. So I had to show and break down the difference for her. But being focused on the child, being focused on yourself, being focused on being present to avoid electronic devices, games, buying their affection, having a one-on-one serious heart-to-heart conversation like I say, don't jump right into telling them everything too early, because I pay for that as well. And like I say, pray and ask God to help. Get some advice on the outside. Your sister, your brother, others who have kids, and maybe what to do. Pray about if that is the solution for your house and your children, because it may not be, or it may. Give it some room to say let the children have some room, and give it some room. What they have to say, how they're feeling, how they're responding, both mentally and emotionally, and wait for the Spirit. That's the third part, to intervene. Even if it seems silly or petty. For example, let's say the teen just wants to talk about being dissed by a friend. I've heard that. Certain outfits. I've heard that. A boy crush. I've heard that. Or something that's very difficult to talk about. Sexting, an experience. I've heard all that. And I'm wondering, is my baby still doing that? So that's what this podcast is about. Helping our troubled teens, solutions. Raising awareness, coping with it, finding solutions. If they are willing to talk about it, then let them start. I have been a part of that. I have allowed my child to move away from me. Get away from me. I don't want to hear that. You're supposed to talk about that, because that was my background. That was my mother's background. Don't do that. Listen to your children. It's going to be cringy for your skin, and your mind is going to be blown, but listen. Listen to them with kindness and sincerity, and if you can, record it. Because sometimes it's about the small steps. Try not to minimize concerns so much, okay? But talk about what's important, which is boundaries, integrity, morals, dignity, God, and it's important to monitor while you're talking. Show them how they're supposed to do parenting, so that when they grow up, they have an idea of what adult, supervision looks like. And it can help reduce negative and troublesome activities. Make sure to avoid being too overly strict and too protective, because that's what makes our children act like wild animals. Be balanced in your approach, setting rules and boundaries. Give them opportunities to do it independently, to show them trust. When you show them that the trust is given, then let them know the consequences when they break that trust. It's important, okay? And then there has to be consequences. Not abuse, but consequences. Get the teen involved and start settling the rules. Have them participate in the rules and the consequences that are created. They will more likely respect these rules and respect you. And that's where it's all about. That's where it is. You can talk to your teen about whatever happens if they break curfew. Boy, did I hear when it came down to that. Mama, you being too hard. Mama, you policing. Mama, you patrolling. Mama, I'm not a kid anymore. Mama, I'm not you. I don't want to end up like you. I want a life. My friends are doing this. My friends are doing that. No one does that anymore. Ugh. Until the police got involved. Learn that what they think is appropriate punishment, and focus on common sense, coming to them and helping them come to their common sense, and consents between you and the child. Teach them accountability and responsibility for themselves. Okay. Hand gestures usually often let the kid know and that's when usually they know, mama making up stuff, mama up to something, mama mad, mama still sad. They know. So think about the parenting style. We got to learn ways where we can get off course and kind of like trick them up a little bit. And it can be done, because I've done it. Are you strict and focused on punishment for every little thing? Or do you give them a lot of leeway or freedom? I think I give them a lot of leeway and freedom while being strict at the same time. So what you have to do as a parent, we have to learn how to do a little of both, but be more, just a tad bit more aggressive while giving them freedom and leeway. Because they have to understand that we got to be firm. Just be more firm for safety. Do you give a lot more overprotective, more relaxed approach? A lot of times that's the laid back, cool, too legit, too cool for school parents. Be aware of how your actions may affect your team's behavior. Set a tone for respect. Setting rules, your authoritative may work sometimes it may not, but you got to stay firm. Got to focus. Have faith in God that He will help. It must come from a place of love and understanding. As the teen ages, they may pull away from you. I'm experiencing that. Make sure that you show that you're strong, reliable, trustworthy. You're there for them. They're enough. Your presence is there as well as the presence of the Lord thy God. You're going to need it. If you show them this, they're more likely to turn to you for help rather than ignore you. And that, listeners, is the truth. Teaching healthy ways to cope. Prioritizing quality time. Don't be so hesitant. That's where I'm going wrong. We have to realize that everything we doing is always that important. Think about Think about how it was when we were kids. Didn't we want some family time? We didn't always want to be with our friends all the time. Then we found ourselves over at Grandma and Grandpa's house, giving us just what we need and want. Well, those children are crying out for the same thing. And I pray all the time that I can give that to each and every child of mine, while moving gatekeepers and devils and energies and spirits with the help of God's hand out of the way. So God, I thank you for interrupting all that we do with sabotage, hindrance that come in the way of families. And God, go into each and every house, including mine, and heal it. Fix it, Jesus, right now. It's done in declaration that we wait on Yeshua, who's always going to come unto us, who call for help and seek His power, His hand, the altar of the Lord thy God, His righteousness. We lean on the rock that's our help, that's higher than you and I, okay? That gives us strength and hope as we build a relationship with God to activate the kingdom dominion while we're living in the earthly dominion. That we have power over, all dominion. Work on keeping the relationship strong and intact, even as they grow older. So you may have demands, your work, your spouse, your children, your relatives, co-parenting, the friends, the neighborhood kids, the church, the school, wherever you are. Make sure that you have one-on-one time with them. Scheduling, with your team, with your child more often. I'm speaking to myself as well. And prioritizing this and priority in life. Agendas are not everything, okay? There's a time, as the Bible says. There's a time and a place for everything. That means there's a time to speak. There's a time to eat. There's a time to dance. There's a time to spend time with your spouse and your loved ones, or your fiance, or taking time for yourself. One-on-one me time. No, there's time for the child. You have to make time. I have to make time. Speaking to you, podcast host. I, me, her, she, I have to make time. Lord God, teach us to make time for our children, because they need us to pray for them, to see them for them and not what they've done or how they've behaved. If you see them acting out, avoiding you, or showing signs of depression, something's wrong. This is not the time to pull away from them, to make them in distress. You may make sure you attend their events. Allow them to go and be a part. That can be hard when you're in tough areas, when you don't have money, when you up against gatekeepers, domestic violence. You might be somewhere where you have to hide. Sometimes they just got to deal with it and just be strong. That's going to teach them to be who they're supposed to become as an advocate. So have them join other events with friends and family, community, churches, gatherings, youth centers, apprentice programs, to make sure that you include them in this development, or letting them just go breathe on their own, but keeping them monitored, make relationships with people around them that can keep an eye on them when they think they're being slick. So encourage them to find healthy activities, helping them to cope, facing pressures at school, feeling isolated, lacking guidance. So I'll come back with part 2. But thank you, and do share this podcast with someone. The Chantel Heart Show blog, radio, and/or ENISED Diplomacy Alliance podcast.